Right. Hello, everyone on YouTube. So, TheScoreEsports have... what did they do to Arslan? Was it Esports Player of the Year? He won. They gave him a huge honor. They've covered Tekken a lot lately. They made a video about Lil Majin that got a lot of traction. Happy to see that. There are so many personalities in the community that deserve some recognition. So nice to see Arslan and Lil Majin get that. And now we will be watching their top 10 broken Tekken characters. I watched this video a few days ago. They used some of my footage. I can tell they've been watching some of my videos in just looking at how they place the characters. But I do remember disagreeing with the placement. And what I will be doing today is just give my opinion on the material they will be presenting. Well, and their opinion, you know. And maybe one day I'll make my own top 10 broken Tekken characters.
And these days, you can pretty much win with any character in the game.
Be careful, one more, you can end it here. Q-dance!
So here we're saying it is a balanced game.
Always so. In fact, the Tekken series has given us some of the most broken characters of all time, which obviously gave us the idea for this list. Now, before we get into it, guys, just so you know, for our purposes, broken doesn't necessarily mean most powerful. These are characters who, in some way or another, fundamentally broke the games they appeared in. And when it comes to certain characters, let's just say the jury's still out on the whole broken thing.
What's up, baby? Oh, God!
So yeah, Leroy is super
Before
broken.
we go ahead and award our top 10 most broken Tekken characters of all time, I gotta let you know that we have an award show. It's coming up on January the 5th.
Oh God,
Clint has been a prop none other than Tekken 7's first and so far strongest guest character, Akuma. And this Street Fighter transplant.
So one thing you have to say immediately. You know what? I'm actually going to remove their audio. I will be doing the talking. We will see their placements. We will see 10th place. Because all the information they will be giving you in this video is information I've covered in previous videos or that you might know about. It's really nothing groundbreaking that is said. But at number 10, they have Akuma, which is... I wouldn't place on this list even in terms of top 10. And that might be shocking to you hearing this. Oh, what? He's so broken. He's the worst. It's like very, very few people will ever be able to make that guy be broken, you know, because the execution is out of this world. You know, it's just... How do I even argue the Akuma is broken movement? I know that a lot of people feel that it's crazy what I'm saying. He's so OP, but very few people can do that with the character. Very, very few people. Most people would just annoy you with some gimmicks the character has. And that's gonna be it. But shit like this that Super Akuma is going to do now, it's like, you know, there's just not a lot of them, you know? You have Super Akuma, you have Atif Bot, you have Avaishani, you know, you have a couple more, but it really is a little list. Most people can't do this, you know. A good example of a broken character is Leroy, who has super high damage, can do everything really well, and there's no execution. You don't have to put any effort into it, but Akuma does not deserve to be on this list at all. No matter how much the community cries about the character, and God knows I can get really annoyed at the character. You can watch me play versus Super Akuma on my YouTube. But he does not deserve to be on this list, especially as we're talking about most broken characters of all time. Look back a few games, and just in Tekken 5, I can give you 10 characters who are batshit fucking crazy and make Akuma look like, you know, a little puppy. So, yes, their pick for number 10 is Akuma, and I can say with a straight face that I would not put him on this list. But it's nice to have a diversity of Tekken games. Maybe they thought, we gotta get someone from Tekken 7. So we have a game on the list, and maybe you wanna say Akuma, but just doesn't work. I would just say Leroy. And at number 9, we have Tekken 6 Lars. Again, a character that should not be on the list. I think we're going to make the point now that I've stressed many times that the big problem with Lars was that very strong, but what was so annoying was that there was no effort required. There's no execution, almost no strategy, and all of his moves are so strong. His combo damage was so high in Tekken 6, and everyone else was rather weak, basically. So it definitely was problematic, but in that very same game, you can just pick out Bob. Bob was a million times worse than Lars. A million times worse. So yeah, I don't agree with Lars. Oh, Tekken 2 Kazuya. This is a good choice. This is someone I would put on the list. And, well, I mean, this is such an ancient game that when you look at the frames and everything, you just go like, well, what the hell is this? It's just so absurd. He has a 13-frame twin pistons from standing. Downward 1-2. It's like -5 on block. Natural hit launcher, has great range. That's how you played Kazuya. Twin piston, twin piston, twin piston, twin piston. And his hell sweep doesn't stagger on block. So if they block your hell sweep, it goes right through their guard. And you can't launch him. It's just full of dumb shit. But the dumbest thing, and they will mention this, is that Kazuya is the only character in Tekken 2 who can sidestep. And that's due to his misstep. So in this game, when someone does a move, you can actually tap forward to sidestep and then down for 2 and you launch them. And he's the only character in the game who can do that, who can go towards the side. And his stun locks, his while standing 2 is death combo in this game. If he gets a while standing 2, Wind God Fist, and then he can do another Wind God Fist into jumping attack, and you die immediately. I agree with that one. Tekken 1 Heihachi, I would not even put on the list. Sure, he was absurd, he was the final boss, but if I want to mention Tekken 1 just to have multiple games on the list, I would just say Tekken 1 King, and that would be it. But it is true that Heihachi from one launch, the 4-4-2 Demon Uppercut, could death combo you. But that goes for a lot of characters in Tekken 1. I think they will mention King, so we can talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I would not put Heihachi on this list. And it's also worth noting that Nina in Tekken 1 has an infinite combo. Any launcher she does, she can follow with downward 3-1-2. And then she can actually infinitely do downward 3-1-2 as you are airborne. Every time that connects while you are in the air, it resets the combo pushback. So you're infinitely stuck in the air. Also a very, very worthy placing on this list, I would say. So yeah, I wouldn't put Tekken 1 Heihachi on this list. I would go with other characters. I'm going to mention some of the characters later. I think they won't even have tag 1 Ogre on the list. Ancient Ogre or True Ogre. And those are some of the... I think in terms of like complete fucking bullshit, tag 1 Ogre is undefeated. If you play Tekken 7 and you think, oh, Noctis is annoying, Yoshimitsu is annoying, Kuma can be kind of cheesy, what the fuck is Zafina doing? Boot up tag 1 and play with someone who knows how to play True Ogre. You won't fucking believe the fucking bullshit that character can do. You won't believe it. It's just in a complete different universe to Tekken 7. So again, yes, I just disagree with this one. Number 6, we have Tekken 6 Bob. Tekken 6 Bob earns the place on this list. I would not have Lars at all. I would just feature Bob. And here they have footage of me explaining some of the character, and then footage from Tekken 6 BR. But what a lot of people don't understand, and what was not mentioned in this list that they made, is that when you talk about the most broken characters and you want to mention Bob, you don't talk about Tekken 6 BR Bob, although he was complete fucking bullshit in that game. You know, 4 Bobs in Evo Top 8. But if you really want to get into it, you talk about Tekken 6 Vanilla Bob. And that's something they did not do in this list. And that is the version of Tekken 6 that was exclusively in arcades. It was never, ever released for any other format. And that Bob is basically this Bob, but he has a down for 2. Is, you know, down for 2, 15 frames, launches on counter hit. It launched on normal hit. Yes. And he also had a roll combo that every time you saw it, you did this. Because it just went on forever, and I don't know how much health it took. If you can, I advise you to go watch Tekken 6 Vanilla Bob videos, because it's so fucking disgusting. This character was still pretty much broken, you know, Tekken 6 BR Bob, but Tekken 6 Vanilla Bob, when he was completely new and introduced, like, it was a bit like Akuma on the original release of FR, like complete fucking bullshit. So Bob definitely earns a spot on this list. But yeah, I would mention, I don't know if they want to talk about the arcade version characters, maybe only home release, but yeah, certainly Bob BR, but the worst offender is Tekken 6 Vanilla Bob. Also worth mentioning is that top 2 characters in Tekken 6 Vanilla was Bob and Kazuya. Tekken 6 Vanilla Kazuya in arcades is probably the best Kazuya ever in a modern Tekken game. And I can cover that in another video. I don't want to get into details because there's a lot that goes into it. But he was incredibly strong. For Kazuya to be seen as top 2 by literally everyone, you understand how strong he must have been. Because all the top players don't want to put Kazuya high on tier list. They always underestimate him due to the technical skill that's involved, the execution. But everyone said he's top 2. He could even be the best because he's so strong. And then home release came, Tekken 6 BR, and he was nerfed to shit. And he was like mid-tier, mid-low, mid-low. So number 5, we have Tag 1 Jin. Tag 1 Jin was a joke, absolutely. And I think this is the only Tag 1 character they are going to mention. But this is where you simply can't say that he was undisputed number 1, in my opinion. You can certainly argue it if you'd like, because pick your poison with certain characters in this game. But Devil, so that's not Devil Jin, that's not normal Kazuya, it's Devil Kazuya. You know, he's playable as a separate character in Tag 1. He could very well be the best character. And the ogres, as I mentioned, true ogre, ancient ogre, they are a complete fucking joke and no execution. You could say they are the best. But you can pick Jin. Okay, so here we have Tekken 1 King, and this is the only Tekken 1 character that should be mentioned in this list, in my opinion. And I think they are simply going to reference my video on his downforward 1, because that was the problem with the character. That his 13 frame downforward 1, you know, that poke you're still using today in Tekken 7, on hit in Tekken 1, it's like +7, you know, +6. Sounds quite normal. But then when you block it, it's +90. And that's where you read the frame data and you're like, Am I not wearing my glasses today? Or does it actually say +7 on hit and +90 on block? And you'd get a witness, you know, my girlfriend. Stina, does it say plus 90? Oh, it does, it does. Oh, okay. And during those frames, the opponent can't do anything. They're locked in a stun like this. And King can simply do anything, guaranteed. So on hit, plus 7, and keeps them standing right next to you. And if they block it, they get launched for at least 60%. So do you know what the strat was? What the pro players did when they got hit by down forward 1? Don't block it! Just keep eating it! You don't block! And eventually you'd be far away. Because it would put, every time you ate it, it would push you back a little bit more and more. And that was the strat. I'm not kidding. That's the strat. That was anti-King in Tekken 1. Because if you blocked it, you died. You blocked with your face. That was the strat. Versus King in Tekken 1. Oh, don't block with your hand. Block with your face. Block with your, for God's sake, block with your face. So yeah, it's like the tournament in Okinawa. 287 King players and 1 Jack player. Jack player got last place. So yes, in terms of Tekken 1, I would simply mention King and no one else. Third place, we have Tekken 5 Steve. And this is the worst character of all time, I would say. He should be number 1, but they've put him on third place. So I've dedicated, I mean, most of these examples they give us here, I've already dedicated videos to them. You can see they're watching my video here. You can watch it on my channel. I think it's like Steve Fox, most overpowered character of all time. And I go through most of it, but it just never ends with that character. But yes, imagine a character that has a huge sidestep. Because he can do a double sidestep. And if he manages to sidestep you're dead. You're dead. This was such a problem that tournament organizers, they didn't want to ban Steve the character. So what they did was, in certain tournaments, that sidestep into Infinite was banned. You were not allowed to do the sidestep 3+1, 3+1. That attack was banned. So that tells you how bad he was. But even when you banned that attack, he was still, you know, far and beyond, you know, most other characters. There are other characters in Tekken 5 who are crazy stupid, like Brian. Brian in Tekken 5 could also be on this list, to be honest. He has a 13-frame jet upper. His taunt gives him, what, 18 frames to play around with? Taunt jet upper, anyone can do it in Tekken 5. It's so easy. His wall combo is 1-to-1 snake edge. Blows up the opponent. Back one is hits on launches on normal hit. His combo damage is obscene. Amazing Oki tools. Snake edge is a tech catch. Yeah, it's just, the character is Nina is also crazy in Tekken 5. So this character, Steve, should be number 1 in my opinion on this list. It's the only character in Tekken history, well, in modern games at least, who has access to a reliable death combo, infinite, a reliable infinite. All he needs is a sidestep. Can you imagine a character in Tekken 7 who kills you from a sidestep? It's quite easy to just step someone. Oh, and by the way, in Tekken 5, the movement is twice as strong as in Tekken 7. Super easy. Super easy. But yeah, there is so much to Tekken 5, Steve, that it's you can't really cover it all. But watch my video if you're interested. So now we have Tekken 3 Ogre. And this is a good pick. He's the most bullshit character in Tekken 3. And this is... a lot goes into this, but... well, most of it is thanks to this. Waning Moon there is comes out at 12 frames, down forward 2+4, a throw. But you can't break the throw in Tekken 3. It's unbreakable. So what that means is that it is a high 12 frame unblockable. That does half-life, at the very least. So anytime someone was, minus 12, you would punish with that. And you would use it as a mix-up, to get people to duck your mids. So yeah, Tekken 3 Ancient Ogre, really busted. And he also has an unblockable Hunting Hawk, upward 3 for free. It's unblockable because the first hit has such an impact on block that the second hit floats them, and the last 2 hits are guaranteed. So yeah, can you imagine someone mixing you up with an unblockable Waning Moon and an unblockable Hunting Hawk? It was not a blast. And yeah, while standing 2 there for 1 million damage. Steph Shah, thank you so much for subbing to the channel. It's a great help. Thank you very much. And that's his really cool Touch of Death. So at number 1, they pick Tekken 4 Jin, who is, one of the most broken characters of all time. Should definitely be on the list. But in my opinion, I would put Tekken 5 Steve above him, even him, But this is certainly a ridiculous character, and they base a lot of it on the Just Frame Laser Scraper, which is one of the most broken moves ever in a Tekken game. It is a just frame, so it's a little bit tricky to do, but you get used to it quickly. So it's basically his old laser scraper, back for 2, 1, and then down 2. But in Tekken 4, you can actually hold the down 2, and blue sparks come, and he delays it. And with a just frame, you can delay it just enough so that it gets the unblockable property, but comes out super quickly. So that move was, completely absurd. If you learned how to do it. His Hell Sweep also didn't... His Hell Sweep is minus 12 on block in Tekken 4. Still gives you a follow-up combo. Okay. His 2-1... is plus 9 on hit and plus 1 on block. His jab is plus 9 on hit, I think. He has a lot of completely absurd frames in this game. Just crazy character. But in terms of balancing, it's so funny in Tekken 4 that his down back 4... that low poke, that's 20-ish frames in speed. That is minus 13 in Tekken 4. And minus 3 on hit, I think. But his Hell Sweep is only minus 12 and gives you so much more. So you're like, how did they... what the hell was the idea behind that? But it's also worth mentioning that as dumb as Jin is in Tekken 4, it's not like Steve Fox, his first game was a saint in Tekken 4 either. Some people argue he's the strongest character. And he was seen as a counter to Jin because Jin's jab in Tekken 4 is 10 frames and Steve's jab is 8 frames. And he still has a 1-to-1 and his flicker mix-ups, you know, when he does flicker 1, down 1, is neutral on block, huge damage, but the mid mix-up, forward 1, is +3 on block. So his flicker has crazy frames. And what also helped Steve so much was that there's no movement in Tekken 4. You can't sidestep, you can't backdash. You basically stand right next to each other and flail. Who's good at flailing in Tekken 4? Steve. So I don't think Jin was like the undisputed king of Tekken 4 anymore, although that's been certainly a sentiment shared by most of the community. I think Steve can be just as bad, and he was the counter to Jin. I gotta drink some water. I've been talking 26 minutes straight. 26 minutes straight. So, pretty entertaining list. I would have done it differently, but it's interesting to see their thoughts on the game. But it's more interesting to know that, you know, Akuma, you see him as a problem, but it's like, you should have seen the Akuma when I traveled to Japan and played in arcades. You know, that Akuma was, there's no comparison. He was completely fucking broken. Just to give you a point of, give you some context. Every time the original Akuma launched you, he could link demon flips in combos. So what that means is that he would launch you, and then he would do a standing 2 or back 1 into demon flip 4, and then he could do it again, standing 2, demon flip 4. You see? He could link those super hard hitting moves over and over. So without meter, the original Akuma got like 80-90 damage without bar. So, you know, what you see today in Tekken 7 ain't got nothing on the original Akuma. And the original Akuma had better frames, longer range on his jab, longer range on his down forward 1. Down 4 had longer range and kept them closer to you. Back 1 and Hadouken and standing 2 all did more damage. So, you know, the damage you see today is nothing, you know, compared to back then. He was, wow, he was a problem. But yeah, interesting video. Maybe I'll make my own top 10 broken characters one day. But it was interesting to give some critique on this list.